welcome everybody. We'll go ahead and start. Clock on the wall says 6:30. It's close enough. This is our work session and regular session for the month of August 9. At the beginning of our meetings, we'd start with a moment of silence, and we would ask you to join us. Please, just a moment of silence. Thank you. We will, since we did a pledge, and we won't do another pledge of allegiance, we just did that in the ceremony. So we'll move on with our agenda, and we get a motion to approve the agenda for August 13th, regular meeting.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve the agenda for the regular board meeting and work session of August 13, 2018.
Motion second. Anybody see anything that needs addressed? Hearing none, all in favor? It's unanimous. Next, we have public comment. If there's anyone who'd like to address the board, nobody signed up to do so.
Mr. Chairman, Dick Mangan, WGOG, I would like to make a request. Someone say something tonight during the meeting about opening the school next week.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Or can we do it, you want it during the meeting, or can I speak to you afterwards? Or?
Well, I may not make it.
Okay. We'll say something.
We can lock the door, Dick, that's not right.
We can do that, yeah.
You're in here now. But yes, we can.
Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? All right. Hearing none, then discussion items, request additional board group courses in the summer.
Yes, sir. We have an approval tonight for Frontier History. Kurt Krusberger, former principal here at West Hope High School, will be joining the staff at Walhalla High School, second semester. This course has been taught before here at West Hope High School, so they'd like to reopen that opportunity for students at Walhalla High School. It will be a semester-length course for half of the unit. If you can be on page 3, you can see a short description of the proposed course. The time period for this course will cover the settlement of the West from 1800 to the completion of the Transcontinental Railroad. And as we get additional information about the syllabus, curriculum, we can also share that with you at that time. But we would like to get approval for that so we can begin the community process for the students at Walhalla High School that will participate in that course.
Is that the only course he's going to teach?
I think he's going to have a couple of other history courses as well. He'll teach a full teaching schedule for the second half of the year.
And with the way this is, the way our semester is set up, it actually teaches for 9 weeks, and then teach another section for 9 weeks to get the half credit.
And I believe this is a course he developed
It is.
originally at Walhalla High when he was a teacher there. And then he brought it to West Hope when he was principal, and now he's taking it back to Walhalla. So it's kind of a Kurt Krusberger original.
Do we have to approve it for every school, or can we not just approve it for the entire county?
It could be approved for the entire county once it gets in our course manual, it could be taught anywhere.
Okay.
I'm certified substitute.
Okay. The next is Exhibit 2, Ms. Moore, for bond resolution.
Yes, sir. This is the last of our bond sales to cover the equipment acquisition that we participated in when we were building Walhalla High School. So this is a resolution that would allow us to sell up to $1.8 million in bonds. It's a short-term bond. We would issue it now and then repay it in the spring when we have our regular bond sale.
And this will finish us up on
It
the
will.
lease purchase, that's great.
Yes.
Anybody have any questions? All right, let's move on. You might as well continue with the financial report.
slow, but that's normal. But I'm happy to answer any questions.
Mr. Lee brought up a point about the cost of the
The LED lighting,
lighting down there.
change them, Brad?
Yes, sir.
Of course, I know that's expensive, but that's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money.
What is the pay, what's the anticipated payback on it? And I know, the lighting is much, much better, whatever.
Incredible.
There's no comparison.
Incredible difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a 5-year, without us having been to school, but, if we use it the way studies have shown, it's a 5-year payback for us with savings on energy costs. And then everything you save after
Of
that.
course, all of our new buildings they have.
As we update, yes,
So
they're
we're just
getting
going
that.
back, kind of.
We did that one because it's a Duke Energy one, and you got the rebate
Yeah.
part of it, so it came in. The only other building we have left is the district office, and we're not doing anything.
But I would concur that in addition to the payback, it's just a much better product. I admit, I did not know that was part of the Walhalla Elementary School project that they did last summer. And then at the beginning of last school year, when I was walking in that school for the first time, it was just different. And the difference was the lighting. The hallways were so much brighter and cleaner. It makes a huge difference in our schools. So
And you have very little natural light in schools now.
particularly in the hallways.
Yeah.
The classrooms typically have a window or two, but the
Yeah.
hallways generally don't. So it makes a big difference.
And we'll have, Scott Orr is tracking the cost comparison before and after, so we'll have him do a report or come out and share the info as we get more. We just haven't had, with it being the summer, we haven't had as much time to gather that.
Anybody see anything else they want to ask about? And so we're still paying bills from last year, though. too.
Just a few more. I hope we're just about to finish.
Back up. And dual enrollment, Ms. Dunn?
Yes, sir. We have an articulation agreement with Truett McConnell University out of Cleveland, Georgia. This is another online opportunity for high school students to participate in a dual credit program, so a dual enrollment program. So this is just a list of all the courses that they offer. So our guidance counselors at the high school level have these options to discuss with their students if necessary. Stephanie Visage has these as well, if she needs to put them into our system. But we just wanted you to know that we have another opportunity for a dual enrollment program for our high school students.
It's true, McCall, is that an online only?
No, sir.
It's-
I'm not familiar with it.
It came out of because one of the students here got a wrestling scholarship, and they wanted to get a head start, and so there was some discussion back and forth. But no, it's a traditional school with an online
With an online
program.
Now, these classes would be online, though.
As far as that's my understanding,
Yes.
yes.
And I'm sure someone has verified that there's quality instruction.
Yes, they are fully accredited
Okay.
under the Southern Association of Colleges and Schools.
And we're gonna have to find a more complete way of reporting our AP scores to you, because Mr. Garrett was just telling me before this graduation ceremony that he expects AP enrollment at Walhalla to decline this year, but it's because of the tremendous increase in dual enrollment classes that we're having. So that's not necessarily a bad thing to see AP numbers go down if you can add AP and dual enrollment and you're still seeing an increase overall. That's a good thing. So this is just another example of another opportunity for a high school student to take college level work. That's what I
Well, I
want.
tell the parents that, that their child did it, that winds up saving them quite a bit of money.
It can.
College costs,
It can.
yeah.
You want me to mention something about
Yeah.
the school?
All right.
And we should have had that on the agenda to have just kind of an update. I sent you an email earlier, but we did welcome teachers back last Thursday, which is a little bit early, and that's just because our first day of school This year is the 20th. That happened to be the third Monday, which put us a little bit behind on our calendar to get finished for graduation by that first week in June. We needed to get a couple more in-service days in before school. So teachers they've had 3 of 7 days, still have 4 more days to plan and do some professional development before students come next Monday, a week from today. But things are going well. We did have some pretty significant needs for special ed teachers about a month ago. It was probably 7 or 8 positions. I think we're down to 3 now, and we have a plan to cover those 3. So we're excited about that. But the principals have reported that they've had a very good start. Teachers are excited, ready to go, and we're looking forward to welcoming students 4 days from now.
So we're in good shape. Mr. Black will say he hired his last teacher today.
She actually started, I think, today. So he was able to get a business teacher. And that was a situation where it was kind of a trade within the team, I guess you'd say, because Seneca earlier this summer had the business vacancy, and there was a teacher here that I think it was more convenient to be at Seneca, and she transferred, so that left the vacancy here. But Mr. Blackwell or Dr. Blackwell did hire someone. So outside of speech therapy, we are still a speech therapist now, and we're school psychologists. We need a couple of those, but those are district level positions that we end up having to contract out to businesses. The only school level vacancies we have are those, I think it's 3 special ed positions. We've hired regular ed teachers to fill those classrooms, but we'll have to use other special ed teachers that we have that have the endorsement. They will kind of hold those students on their caseload for extra compensation because they'll be doing extra work that's over and above what they would normally be required to do. So we have a plan in place to cover those vacancies, and Mr. Leroy will be working hard to find mid-year graduates from our local colleges to see if we can't fill those positions permanently starting in January. But I'm very pleased with where we are today compared to 4 or 5 weeks ago. So it's a good situation to be in, and I think we're, facility-wise, I think we're in really good shape. We're still waiting on a gym floor to be installed here in the old gym. But we've got the new gym open and ready to go for PE, so that shouldn't be a problem. And I think otherwise we're in good shape.
Passed the inspection at Walhalla Hill was the last one that we had to have, and now we're moving forward toward breaking ground again on our part of the Career Center side,
All right.
which I'll discuss in a few minutes.
All right. Okay, well, action items then, we'll move on to item number 5. Is the July meeting minutes. Get a motion to approve those.
Mr. Chairman, make a motion that we approve the minutes for the July meeting.
I'll second it.
Wait a second, anybody see anything that needs addressing on that? Hearing none, then all in favor, which is unanimous. Next is the naming of the new career center. Do you want to take that?
I think,
Comment, Steve?
sure, Mr.
Haley, understand, comment?
And I know we had spoken at the July meeting, and I had talked with you all and told you I'd spoken with Mr. Hamilton, out of courtesy called him, and then I spoke with him later on that next day after the meeting, and through conversation with him and our leadership team, and just the general consensus. The question basically is, we knew the Hamilton name would stay in the district because that's not going away. The question was whether it's going to stay at the current location, which we're going to repurpose in August of 2020 and turn into the adult education, alternative school, maintenance, and several other opportunities will be there in departments. Or would it go with the new career center, which we're going to build out on Highway 11? And, there's not a tremendous amount of precedence in the district and that, and it's just like Mr. Hamilton said. He said, I'm the board's gotta make tough decisions. He said, I'll go with whatever they recommend and say that we're gonna do. He said, so, I did get some feedback from some folks that they felt like it might be better to, have his name go with the new, career center that we're building. As you can see on there, the question, and I apologize that doesn't have a question mark after the background question, but, the recommendation from the leadership team is that we, name the new career center located in the Industrial Technology Park on Highway 11, the Hamilton Career and Technology Center, or HCTC. And then, we will, in the future, decide on a name, for the facility that currently houses the Career Center, but will be repurposed for those other purposes. We can talk about that. We've got 2 years to cover that. It was imperative that we get a name on the new facility because the Office of School Facilities in Columbia wants that as part of the process to approve the plans. Our recommendation is that the Highway 11, the new site, be called the Hamilton Career and Technology Center.
I think that's a good move, because I think originally, and Jerry was probably, may have been on the board back then, but he was here. You know, when they named Hamilton Career Center was because of his support for the vocational school and career center. And that will still tie him in with that at the new facility. Because he's always been a big supporter of career centers and education, vocational schools, so.
Not many fine people.
That's right. And he's been around and contributed a lot to our district.
So,
Any questions, comments? Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I move that the new career center be officially named the Hamilton Career and Technology Center.
Have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? It is unanimous. Okay, then approval of the bond resolution, exhibit 2. Oh, it says C exhibit 2, I'm sorry.
This is a not,
That's the
not
one.
exceeding, it will not go over.
Resolution, bond sale not to exceed 1.5, 1.8. Do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we authorize the issuance and sale of a bond not exceeding $1.8 million.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any other questions, comments? Hearing none, all in favor? That is unanimous. And then the local board approval course, Ms. Simmons talked about the Cooper Common. We have a motion to approve that.
This is
That's a first.
Oh, Frontier History Course, I'm sorry.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the new course, Frontier History, as presented by the administration. I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. Any comment, question? All in favor? That too is unanimous. And then second reading item, moving along with 6. Policy, and I think we could do 6 and 7 together. Exhibit 6 is policy IKA-R grading assessment system administrative rule, and policy IKA-DD-R content credit recovery administrative rule. Some, you want any comments on that, or just refresh everybody?
Yes, sir. The grading assessment systems, if you look at the second page, we just took out the credit recovery and content recovery information because we have on Exhibit 7, that's the new policy that we created. Nothing has changed on either policy since we looked at it the first time at the last board meeting. We actually, Dr. Dorsland reviewed the content and credit recovery policy one more time with those administrators, and they were good to go with what we had done originally, so we did not make any changes to that. We've also shared this information with Stephanie Visage, so she's aware that we will be offering credit and content recovery as this policy states, as long as it's approved this evening.
Okay, we're gonna go back to Exhibit 7 too.
That's
the same thing.
We pulled the content and credit recovery out of Exhibit 6, and it became a standalone policy in Exhibit, that's what Exhibit 7 is.
So it's administrative rule, basically.
Yes, and essentially what this does is this gives our high school teachers, counselors, administrators a lot of flexibility in the best way to help kids. These are for situations that are usually atypical. You know, a kid goes through a traumatic experience during the semester and they fall behind. This gives the school flexibility with assisting that student to catch back up. Or, you know, it could be a content recovery, which usually teachers would just handle that on their own. But for credit recovery, that would mean the guidance department, the administration has to get involved to approve that. But it just gives them additional flexibility to help students, you know, recover credit if necessary and do what they need to graduate.
Any other questions? Do we need to approve them both? Yes. We get a motion to approve Exhibit 6 and 7 same time.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we approve on second reading policy IKA-R, creating assessment systems administrative rule, and policy IKA-DD-R, content and credit recovery administrative rule.
Second.
Got a second, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments, questions? None, all in favor? It is all in favor, none. And then let's do Exhibit 8 and 9 the same way.
Both of these policies go along with the high school credential course that's brand new to our students that fall in between the diploma track and the not diploma track. This gives them an opportunity to receive kind of like a work-based certification. So the employability credential talks about just the purpose of this. That's the first Exhibit 8. And then Exhibit 9 breaks down their credential requirements, the types of courses they need to have are listed there, what the work-based learning and training requirements look like as far as what Hamilton Career Center is going to be helping a lot with those credential classes in that category. And then it also talks about the multimedia presentation project that they'll be creating to show to employers so that they understand the types of courses that they've had and their work ethic and that type of thing. So this is just another opportunity to offer those students.
We need a motion first to approve both on second reading.
Mr. Chairman, I move policy IKFC, employability credential, and policy IKFC-R, employability credential, administrative rule, be approved on second reading.
Second.
Motion is a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? That too is unanimous. And that brings us down to executive session. The only thing there is we need an executive session. And so for personnel items, performance recommendation changes, and an employee matter. If we can get a motion to go into executive session for those reasons.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to go into executive session for personnel items, employment recommendations and changes, and an employee matter.
You want to second? Second. And approve it. All in favor? It is unanimous. Thank y'all for being with us. It's usually not quite that short and sweet.